Good morning, ELL, and a good morning to the show. Pre-roll for Electric Libertyland, episode number 146. Guys, I want to tell you, I made a life choice. It's not about religion. It's not about which way I want to part the remaining follicles of my hair or maybe my mustache. It's not about trying to convince Odermatt to change his haircut just once in his life. No, it's that I'm actually going to be joining the Libertarian Party officially. Now, as you know, Mark is already on board. Tom Woods is already on board. Dave Smith is already on board, as of course is Odermatt and our own Howie Snowden. And I am going to be making it official. I want to have a voice. I want to be a delegate. I want to go and make sure the heinous actions of the past that brought Gary Johnson and Bill Weld into the fold and allowed them to be our presidential candidates in the last run. So I am going to go to lp.org/Lions of Liberty. I encourage you to do the same. That way we get a little loving from you joining up and we can be united. A united front to bring back the actual principles of liberty for which the Libertarian Party should stand. Yeah, that's about it for this pre-roll. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Electric Libertyland, here on the Lions of Liberty podcast, your weekly shot of culture, comedy, and liberty with your host, Brian McWilliams.
You ever drink MCT oil in your coffee?
Yeah, it gives me crazy, well, it did before I got used to it. It gave me tummy ache and diarrhea.
So I used to do it, and I had done it for a while, and then I just got a new big bag coffee. So I made a whole big coffee. I had a whole bunch of interviews today. So I make it, and I go to pour a little drop in, because I know you're only supposed to use a little bit, but like a big bloop fell in. I was like, it's fine. I'll just drink it. And then like halfway through my first interview, I was like, oh, man, I'm not feeling good. And then right before my other interview, I just had to puke. I puked up all of these. It was like 2 cups of coffee I puked up, and it was like, you know how it gets in your nose when you puke.
Oh, yes.
It was brutal. So that's why I didn't feel good.
Yeah, right.
And I maybe a tiny bit hungover, but not really. But
what would you do last time?
Eric Zenzig won some tickets to this.
To the Bad Religion.
Oh, yeah, I know he asked you to. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't go. I was at an event with the Chinese embassy.
It was. You know how you hate concerts? This would have been the perfect concert for you, because it was. First, it's like an interview, which I rolled my eyes at. I'm like, interview. But
wait, it was the perfect concert for me to hate, or the perfect?
No. I'll get there, because I thought I was going to hate the interview too. It's actually really good. The lead singer was really funny, and it was over before I knew it. It was like 15 minutes long. I was like, that's it, great. And then they went into their set, and it was like 5 songs. It was like all the 5 Bad Religion songs I ever heard, and then they were done. No encore. They were just over. It was great.
So they played that one that goes, "You want it all, but you can't have it."
You know that's not Bad Religion, right?
Oh, no, I don't.
That's Faith No More.
What are the Bad Religions?
No, they didn't do that. The one you would know the most is probably...
you guys might remember us best from this song, which we didn't even play.
Yeah, Sorrow, you probably know the most. Like, there will be sorrow. Which is, I literally always thought that was Social Distortion until yesterday.
Yeah, I have no idea what that song is.
You would know it if you heard the real one and not my version.
Maybe so. We need to have you and Jamie do some sort of libertarian karaoke event just to really drive.
I'm sure he'd be all about it.
That's why it'd be so great, though. He'd be so pissed off and miserable, and we'd require everybody to give a little libertarian speech before they sang a song.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Well, as I posted, wait, are we live yet? Oh, here we go. I'm going to go live. I'm going live. As I posted in my Facebook feed, I am very fucking tired. Do
you really need to post that for people to know it?
It's like I'm more tired today than usual. Like my eyes are like, I can't keep my eyes open. I was so tired. I just can't I haven't slept. I'm just like, this fucking pinched nerve will not go away to the point where I can get comfortable. I'm just dying. I can't deal with it.
Like any good live stream, it starts with Brian talking about being tired and having a pinched nerve.
Yeah, that's where the best live streams start. And then also drinking whiskey, because I brought you whiskey. And so to keep my engine running.
I am not drinking whiskey due to the aforementioned off-air story.
That was recorded for. That'll be the bonus. So people have to listen to the first 2 minutes that didn't watch the live broadcast for the Pride we're doing.
Why Mark was sick. That's why you need to join the Pride.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do an intro now. I'm just going to start. That's the cold open. This is the open. I'm just going right into it.
When you say this is the open, that's the open?
I'm doing the open. Shut up. All right. Welcome to Electric Libertyland, episode number 146, everybody. And I am joined by a guest. This is actually the first time we've done a solo show that wasn't, I think, a Pride Extra or anything like that in a while. Maybe.
No, we did one after the Tulsi Gabbard event.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Don't worry. I got you. I'll remember your podcast better than you do. No
yeah,
problem.
Please do. I don't fact check things. I also, by the way, corrections and retractions.
Very on brand.
Last episode, I mistakenly said the Kurds were Christian. So I was confusing them with the Yazidis, who are Christian and are in northern Iraq. And I was confusing them with the Kurds in northern Syria. The Kurds are not, in fact, Christians.
If you want to get into corrections from your past podcasts, I happen to have prepared a list right here. How much time do we have for this? No,
if you actually, that would be hilarious. I was going to let you go. I
wish I did. That was just a gag, but I could prepare a list easily.
I want that. We should do an entire ELL show, which is just you guys putting a list of things that I got wrong and me arguing that I had them right. Because I bet I can make some good arguments on half.
Call on our Patreon interns to do this. I love our Patreon, the Lions of Liberty Pride, and yes, I'm already plugging because not only do they pay us money to fund this podcast, they also do stuff for us. So it's like you pay us to be interns too. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best thing. This is the best part of being a podcaster, other than all the deep poon we pull.
Well, yeah,
all that podcasting poon coming in the door. Yeah, welcome to Electric Libertyland. So, as I mentioned last show, I have to pre-record because I'm out of town. I'll be on a boat. I'll be on a boat and then at a theme park. I'm not taking the boat to the theme park, by the way. That would be pretty amazing, though. Very exclusive theme park. It's called Pedophile Island. Jeffrey Epstein runs it.
Epstein Land.
Yeah, welcome to Epstein Land. Woohoo! Yeah, all the rides, and you end up wet and you don't know what the liquid is.
Animatronic Bill Clinton welcoming you.
And you have to be this young to ride. That's the requirement.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, no. So I'll be out of town and not able to record. So I'll be on a boat in the middle of nowhere, and then I'll be at this theme park and just not able to do it. So
should we imagine what news might break between now and then report it as if you're commenting on it?
Nuclear war will definitely break out. North Korea has bombed Japan. The entire the entire island of Japan has been wiped from the face of the earth. The only survivor is the emperor, who said, "Fuck you, North Korea."
All right. Well, I guess we can just do racist impressions instead.
From a turtle shell that he was standing on in the middle of the ocean. Much like Mario rides on turtle shells, that's how the emperor escaped. You think that's a myth made for video games, but actually based in fact, and the emperor is the only person who could do it, which is why he ruled Japan for so long.
I should have known where suggesting this activity would lead. Obviously to Mario references.
Well, clearly. And that's the sad thing is when North Korea inevitably drops a nuke on Japan in the following days after we record this, no more Zeldas, no more Mario Brothers. It's going to be awful. Except those knockoffs that went on like the PlayStation VCR or whatever the fuck it was. The Sony Jaguar knockoffs.
Is that a real thing? I never heard of it.
Oh, it's a real thing. There's like Zeldas that are the most atrocious games ever that were on
Melda.
It was like, no, they're licensed somehow. They're real Zelda games, but it's like these weird side-scrolling things with like live action characters, kind of like Mortal Kombat creatures, but jumping around and like,
Oh, all right. Well, it sounds fun.
No, it's definitely not. Anyway, so what we're going to do this episode, though, is Mark and I both have seen the film Joker. And are we going to spoil? Are we going to try to avoid spoilers for this?
Well, I would say by the time this airs, it will have been out for nearly 2 weeks. So I would say if you give a warning saying spoilers coming now, let people pause it right here if they plan to go see it still and return to it. And if not, if they don't care, then they'll just keep listening.
There you go. Hopefully many of our
I hate non-spoiler reviews because they're just like, this thing happened that was cool. I can't tell you about it though.
I agree. No, I think it's tough to spoil it. Well, hopefully, like most libertarian podcasts, I presume that most of our listeners are violent incels who have seen Joker on the opening night dressed in full clown makeup.
That's the audience we're going for, so I sure hope so too.
That's what all our advertising is geared towards. So welcome to the show. We are going to break down Joker. We'll probably get into some other topics. I don't know. We debated debating borders, which maybe we'll get into that if we feel like it.
We're debating. We're
debating the debate on borders, but that might be better saved for another podcast.
Well, I was all prepared for it, so let's at least do it. Maybe a teaser discussion.
I prepared nothing on it, and
I'm always prepared.
Well, I also think it's funny though too. What people are, because on my last show I was just saying that you got borders, and I think until you get rid of the welfare state, you do need borders.
See, now we have to get into it now because I can't let that statement go
later. But I was going to say, people.
Right, well, let's just say that statement's ridiculous and wrong.
All right. Well,
and then we can leave it at that, or you can get into it. That's your.
Well, we'll get into it later. I don't even know if you know my full position on it.
I don't. I was going to let you give it, but when we got into it,
actually
you don't want to get
agree on it, which is what I was so annoyed by with like the Facebook postings when people come out and be like you assholes don't even know what I'm arguing because I didn't go into it.
Well, fair enough. My plan was to let you fully describe your position first and then respond to it. So that was my eventual plan.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, we'll see. We'll see if we get into that later. Okay. But first, let's talk about the Joker. And I will say that so the general plot. This is, of course, a Genesis story of Joker. And unlike the other movies,
biblical
it was standalone. Yeah, it was biblical in nature, in that there was a Mary character, a Virgin Mary. I don't know, kind of. No, it was the only standalone Joker film, other than maybe animated ones that I can think of. All the other Genesis Joker films were in the context of Batman. They were superhero comic book films de facto. And the director of this film, Todd Phillips, he was known for The Hangover. He was known for Old School. He was known for only comedies up to this point. And so an interesting choice to helm this film. And he said he went out of his way. Number one, he left comedy because of all the woke assholes who ruined it. So I want to talk a little about that. And went into make this comic book movie. And he said he wanted to make a comic book movie that was going to turn the comic book movie world on his head. And I think that he did that effectively.
It's certainly the most non-comic book movie feeling comic book movie of all time, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, if it weren't for a few references, we already said we're spoiling. So if it weren't a few references to, Bruce Wayne and the Batman mythology, and they did actually tie that in together, which I wasn't really expecting.
They tied it in beautifully, by the way. I was really impressed with the way they did that.
If it wasn't for that, then you would never know this was a comic book movie. Or if it wasn't for that and wasn't called Joker, this could be just a totally separate movie that's just about this guy who ends up being called the Joker. But the name is almost irrelevant to the story, and it's not. The story is great because it's not really based at all on comic book canon. It's not. The Joker doesn't even have a necessarily clear origin in the comic book. This is nerd talk for you here. But I really like
wondering that because when I was watching this movie, I didn't know if you'd read the Batman comics because I saw this to my wife when we were leaving. I was like, I have no idea if any of that's from the canon. If that was like something they created for this movie with the whole background, because the way it tied in was pretty fascinating. Where there's a point in the movie where you think that the Joker is Batman's brother, and I didn't know if that was in the comic books or not. I didn't know if any of this was related to explain why the Joker and Batman hated each other so much. None
of the connection to Batman is remotely based on anything that's ever happened in comics. That's kind of what I liked about it too.
All right, so we're jumping ahead a little bit. I'm trying to think the best way to go through this. Should we go through it chronologically? Is that probably the easiest thing to do? Or do you want to go through thematic and just kind of hop all over?
I'm a libertarian podcaster, not a movie reviewer. I have no idea the right way to do this.
Well, if you listen to any of the South Park recaps, I just did another one with Dan Smots today if the system is down. We do our recaps on South Park, and we try to give an overview of the episode. So maybe I'll do a quick overview of the movie's beats, and then we can just jump around from there.
Lovely.
So real quick, I'll try to break it down fast. Basically, you got Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, who I thought he was the best Joker since the number one best Joker of all time never will be replaced, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, and if Heath Ledger, who was awesome too, got a by the way, this list will infuriate you. I found a list of the best Jokers, which didn't include Joaquin Phoenix because I think it
was Mark Hamill number one because woke dickheads made it.
He wasn't number one, but he was higher than Jack Nicholson.
What?
And Mark Hamill does do a great Joker, but he's not better than Jack Nicholson.
This podcast is canceled. I'm canceling this podcast. I'm starting a new podcast called Jack Nicholson is the Best Joker. And every podcast is just me breaking down the original Batman again and again with Jack Nicholson as the best Joker.
I mean, Jack Nicholson's the best Joker. Batman. Jack Nicholson's the most entertaining Joker because he just dances the whole movie. And
he's so fucking good. He's so great. He's just a nutball. And he's the best Batman. I think he's the best.
I agree with that. But my point being that if Heath Ledger won an Oscar for his Joker, there is no excuse on the history of the planet for Joaquin Phoenix not to win an Oscar for this Joker because it's even better.
Yeah, completely agreed.
And I like that you can kind of imagine it as you can take it however you want. Like, I think they're saying it's not going to be tied into formally to any Batman movies, but you can easily take this as the origin of the Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger.
Red leather, yellow leather.
You can take this as the origin of the Heath Ledger Joker, and that would transition perfectly smoothly, except for some weird age differences with Batman.
The arsonist had strangely shaped feet. You didn't do your
torch. Was an eye at a bank loan. The Human Torch. I did like 3 interviews before this. You'd think I'd be warmed up.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I agree. I was also wondering that too. And I was like, I think this will be a standalone film. I can't see how they're going to follow it up because this film was very serious. Number one, it was a very serious film. It had some funny moments, but there were funny moments, at least to me. I was the only one in the theater laughing at the funny moments, but I thought there were funny moments in it.
How amazing would it be to see this Joaquin Phoenix with like alongside Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn? I think that would be awesome. I don't think they'll do that though.
That'd be fucking tits. Well, at some point, actually, God, I'm getting it's so hard to peg this down. All right, let me do the synopsis and we'll go into it. Let me just give it an overview.
I just like a series of side conversations that never getting to a point. That's what I was hoping for.
Well, that might be the way it works out.
Like my episode with Karen Bird last week and Howie.
Yes, that was very entertaining. That's always fun.
Yeah, but no point ever happened there either. So maybe we can do it again.
Carr. It's funny because when you speak with Carr, like I did their podcast, Carr shows his face to you when you're doing it on the Zoom, and Bird just uses an icon because I think Bird is like the Elephant Man.
But I've seen him in real life, and yeah, you're right. He is the Elephant Man.
There you go. Put a bag on that fucker's head. So anyway, getting back to this real quick, I'll give you the overview. So you've got a very dark film. Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker. He is this clown character. He's kind of he's fucked up. He has a condition where he laughs instead of crying or instead of being sociable. He laughs uncontrollably. So you start off with that. He's a clown in the street. He gets the shit kicked out of him. He loses a sign. That sends him in a spiral of getting fired from his job after he has a gun given to him for protection by this other fat clown. Gets canned from his job, so he's down and out. He's taking care of his mother, who you think is, she's obsessed with Thomas Wayne. You find out that she thinks that Arthur, a.k.a. the Joker, is Thomas Wayne's son. And she's been telling him, she hasn't told him for years, but she's writing him letters. It ends up that Thomas Wayne is not, in fact, the Joker's father. We find this out after the Joker addresses Thomas Wayne, after he hits rock bottom, goes and shoots 3 of the guys. You've seen it in the trailer where 3 asshole white guy Richies end up coming at him on a train. He murders those people and then is a wanted man, but he inspires them.
I will object to the use of murder for at least one of the guys and possibly 2 of them, because
I agree. I think it's self-defense 100%.
Yeah, the first one was definitely self-defense.
Hold on. We can get it done. Right. Let me just get through this so we could go back.
Okay.
I want people to get the overview, just in case people are like, I don't care. I'd rather, some people might listen to this, and honestly, because I know people who do this, they'd rather hear us review it first, and then they're going to go watch it. So they probably need it.
Okay. Well, if they haven't turned it off by now, then I don't know.
Exactly. So he quote, murder or self-defense, and kills these 3 guys, which inspires a movement of people to fight back against what they perceive as rich. So it's a kind of a class warfare thing. Now, Arthur still isn't owning up to this, but he goes through this finding out that Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's father, maybe his father, per reading his mother's letter, she says that they had a love child and he is the son. He goes and confronts Thomas Wayne about it, finds out this is not true. He was in fact adopted, and Thomas Wayne tells him this and then punches him in the face. But he goes and investigates, goes to Arkham Asylum, so they put Arkham in this, finds his mother's records, finds that he was in fact adopted, that she was in fact committed and insane, that she was abusive, that she tied him to a radiator, or her abusive boyfriend did, as he beat the shit out of him.
Fucked up. That's when he finds that out.
Oh, it's so dark. It's so dark. And so he gets the shit beat out of him as a child, and she gets the shit beat out of her, and she's such a psycho. And this was a very pertinent part of the movie, and I thought a genius thing is through this whole movie he's laughing, and you don't know why the condition exists, but then you find out that she goes, "Oh, I never heard you crying." And it's because he as a child was beaten so badly and traumatized with these head wounds and everything else. He was laughing his way through this, and that's why he laughs for everything. So she never heard him crying because he was laughing as he's getting the shit kicked out of him. So he then has this side story where he's obsessed with Robert De Niro's Tonight Show kind of host, right? Like Johnny Carson. He wants to be on the show. He wants to do stand-up comedy. He goes and finally does stand-up comedy, has this hallucinogenic side trip where he has a girl that lives in the building with him that's all supportive. None of that's true.
Can I say I am an idiot because I didn't realize that didn't happen until someone had to explain it to me.
I was when it was happening. Well, again, hold on, let me finish this. We'll go back.
All right.
And then we'll break it down. So he has this hallucinogenic thing where he thinks his comedy does well. The Tonight Show guy takes a clip, puts him on TV, and just embarrasses the shit out of him because he's so awkward. Meanwhile, I thought the one joke was very funny, which I'll talk about. Then they invite him to come on the Tonight Show. And in the background of this, all of these Joker characters are rising up. There's kind of riots in the streets because they're revolting against the elite. And he goes on the Tonight Show with Robert De Niro. He dresses as the full Joker character, and he goes on there, and his plan is to blow his own brains out with the gun he still has. But he goes on Tonight Show. He goes out there. He's fully Joker now. He's come into this character. His mother dies, or he actually ends up killing his mother because he finds out that she lied to him, was abusive, kills her, goes on the Tonight Show. And after telling people, I killed those guys, and telling people, fuck this, you left. And this is a very powerful scene. Telling you, I was this mentally, I had a mental issues guy. I was a weirdo. You ignored me. You pushed me to the side. You told me I was shit. And this is what you get. And he shoots Robert De Niro in the fucking head, kills him right there. And then that's more or less the end of the movie. He ends up in the asylum, and he inspires a lot of these Joker characters to rise up. And the way it ends is he's in the asylum, and we've got this revolution. Now, there's a lot more to this, which Mark and I are going to unpack, but that's the general arc of the story.
They do leave it a little bit subjective at the ending, because you could imagine that, because that lady in the asylum was the same exact lady that was his social worker. And you could imagine one interpretation might be that this entire movie was in his mind in the mental institution.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is why I would prefer not to interpret it that way.
I would prefer that too, but I like it. They leave it so you can kind of think whatever you want.
Yeah, and
it was the same lady. You can imagine she just got a new job at this other place, and then he
for sure, yeah, and she looked a lot better than when he was imagining her in the beginning. So yeah, because it starts off with him laughing hysterically in this social worker's office. And let me bring this up too, because this was something I read which annoyed the shit out of me. Somebody was like, "Let's talk about the problem with black women in Joker." What? And and not pointing out the fact that, by the way, there's only about 5 characters in Joker,
right. and 2 of them are black women.
Yeah, 3 of them are black, including his love interest in the movie. So actually, only 2 major are black. 1 minor is a black one, there's a lot of black people in the movie. Is what I'm saying. And the lead black woman is Domino, which is his love interest. But before that, the social worker's black, right? So she's kind of trying to help, and this article I read was trying to paint these women as like they're all negative aspects, like they're painting black women as evil, and that's why he becomes Joker. Which none of that's fucking true.
You'd have to be insane to think that.
Well, these are HuffPo writers, so they are all fucking insane.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
They're woke sane. It's woke sanity.
I mean, all movies are open to interpretation, but that's really taking things that are literally not even there at all and making it up.
And if anything, you'd go, isn't it great that they're casting so many black actors in this? If you're on that side, like, this is a wonderful thing that his love interest is black. The social worker trying to help him is black.
I mean, if anything, it shows that his fantasy about this woman was about a black woman. Yeah. I mean, he's not racist, at least. That's what we know about the Joker.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it starts off, though, with, the movie kind of walked the line between some of it I can side with, and some of it was a little annoying, wokey bullshit. I mean, obviously they talk about cutting social services, which is how he loses access to his meds and his psychiatry. And that was right in the beginning. Pretty early in the beginning, they cut him off. So,
I really don't like the implication that it was only because he goes off his meds that makes him go to this extra level of madness. It was almost like a subtle ad for the pharmaceutical industry, which really bothered me too.
Yeah,
and baked-in presumption.
Yeah, and also that so many people that do the heinous kind of crimes, which people were worried that Joker would inspire, when of course none happened. They were, all those people that are on it are typically they're prescribed psychotropic drugs. It's not that they're off their meds; it's that they are on their meds, and that's why. And
if they go off the meds drastically, they can also have problems. So they're kind of in a messed up situation where if they don't get off these meds in a good way, in a progressive way, not to use that term, but then they're going to have major problems, and that is why we have a lot of violence and such. I'm convinced of it because they overprescribe this stuff like mad to children.
Yeah. Yeah, but also, I mean, the movie, they got this character where it's, you think at the beginning he's just a nutball who's kind of been beaten down by life, and that's why he's going to do these horrible things. And 2 of the themes. Number 1, they had the whole resist thing. They have the class warfare thing, right? They had Thomas Wayne essentially as Trump in this, and there was subtle but not subtle. Like, they had resist signs. They had Wayne is a fascist signs. That kind of pissed me off just because it was too obvious that these guys still going fuck Trump. I'm like, look, I don't need that.
And Thomas Wayne was a little too tropey for me, at least at first. It turned out he had a little more nuance to his character, but at first he just seems like this, aloof elitist who sort of gives the standard Republican lines of, well, the poor people just got to pick themselves up and get off there. And it's like, it was just very, very tropey, but he turned out to have a little more nuance than that too. So, it's okay.
Yeah, he did. Not a lot, but
By that, I just mean he punched him in the face, and it was awesome.
it was really funny.
Because you almost start to not dislike Thomas Wayne. Like, because what's interesting about relating this to Batman mythology is that you never really, at least as far as I know, I mean, obviously there's been 70 years of Batman comics, 80 years, but I've never really heard or seen of any much deep diving into detail about the Wayne family. It's just all you know is Bruce is sad that his parents died, and they're rich, and that's like the extent of it that anyone ever gets into it. So it was interesting to see them explore aspects of of this character of Thomas Wayne, of Bruce's father, that we've just never seen explored before. Where in this case, he's an essential figure in Gotham City, and he's causing a lot of these problems. Not causing them, but he's, they're surrounding him, the sort of class warfare issues that are going on, which ties directly into the Joker's origin. So they really did it in a really interesting way to tie everything together. Yeah, and I also like the way that they tied in. They still had the iconic scene with the parents walking down the alleyway with Bruce, and the clown shoots him. Now it's not the Joker. It's a Joker inspired by Which Arthur. I liked. I liked that they didn't make it so simple as to have the Joker be the one that kills his parents. Yeah, I did too. I like that a lot better. But like you were talking about, so some of the things from a libertarian's perspective, like I said, it did annoy me a little bit of the wokeism. But what did you think overall of the whole rich versus poor? That the rich are the rich, and they don't give a shit about the poor, and the poor are kept downtrodden. On some level, obviously, I agree with that. I'd like to see that disparity drop. But on the other hand, I don't think just saying you're rich and this is what you get, fuck the rich, you get what you get, without addressing the issues that exist, which of course nobody wants to ever talk about in movies, but they don't talk about the crippling taxes. They don't talk about regulation. They don't talk about slums caused by government. They don't talk about, over policing or anything like that. So what do you think of that overall message though of fuck the rich, which is prevalent in the movie? Sure, and I guess it really does play into the whole origin of the Joker. So I see why they did it, but I guess the problem with this stuff, and whenever it's in a movie, is that it's always just so basic and tropey, and it doesn't really dive into the underlying issues. It kind of makes me think of like The Big Short, which was that a Todd Phillips movie, by the way? It might have been. I'm not sure. I'm gonna live Google The Big Short director. Oh, that's Adam McKay. I confused them. Okay. Oh yeah, well McKay is ultra lefty. Yeah, so but The Big Short, I thought it was a really good movie, but it kind of just has this basic assumption of that the Depression happened because bankers are greedy and the Depression happened. Not the government fucking involvement in loans and backing loans. Not a single mention. And it doesn't make the movie wrong, but every time I've only seen it one time, but that time I was like, this is a good movie. I like everything I'm seeing, but it bothers me that I know about this thing that it's just not even referenced. And it's just like, how do you leave out the entire cause of it? That's like every left point ever though, is they take that one clip and they take the context out like whatever's before, they take that part out and they just give you like, here was the shit that they did. And they're like, here's why, here's what led up to this shit that we don't want to tell you, It's cancel culture summed up. We just take one little, 3 words of what you said once, and then we tell you. And now banking is evil. Mm-hmm. Yeah, precisely. Anyway, keep up. I mean, obviously, Joker is a completely fiction as opposed to The Big Short, which is semi nonfiction or something. But I think the same thing. It's like, issues of class warfare and the rich and the poor are real. Like there's probably maybe many legitimate reasons for many who are poor to be resentful of people who are rich, depending who they are. You shouldn't be resentful of the people that worked really hard, started a business, and made lives better for so many people that they voluntarily give them their money and they become really rich. You shouldn't be resentful of those people. You should be resentful of people that get into power, get in bed with government, create situations which keep people more poor, create programs which keep people more poor, create regulations which make it really difficult to start your own businesses, make education so expensive that you can't get ahead. All these things, but of course these things are never discussed in any of these situations, whether they're fiction works or nonfiction works. These are glossed over, and it's taken as a basic presumption that the rich are rich because they're evil and the poor are poor because the rich are evil. And that's as far as it ever gets. I don't think I've seen any movies that go much deeper into things than that. So I didn't expect anything more here, but it, same old, I guess. I guess I'm so used to it that it didn't bother me as much as it maybe it should have. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that did annoy the crap out of me, though, is a little bit like, so the Joker gets a gun given to him by this guy. He later ends up killing, and deservedly so, I guess. The guy was coming to kill him, it seemed. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. I have seen that guy. You're not going to tell him. You're going to tell him what you need to tell him, right? He was like being all tough guy with him. You're my buddy. Yeah. I was
that was a
surprised.
crazy fucking scene, though. A guy gets murdered right in front of a midget, and the midget goes off scot-free, though, so don't worry.
The funny thing about Joker is like every murder I'm kind of expecting in a way. Like, you know, when I first see those rich guys, I'm expecting him to kill them. When I first
they're the biggest fucking trope ever, by the way. Yeah, it's and I love how you got to make sure. Now the people that initially jump him are a bunch of like younger kids, like Hispanic and black kids that beat him up at first. But then, of course, on the train, it's got to be three like the whitest, yuppiest rich guys,
your image of just a New York Wall Street douchebag.
Which isn't that a negative stereotype? I'm not saying that to say that like white people should be mad that this is them as a stereotype, but
realistically, one of those guys would have been gay in real life.
Can a black guy or a gay guy be up in there giving this clown shit on the train?
I want to see a gay bully in a movie once.
Get an East Indian in there. Well, it's like I have a screenplay. One of my
called Gay
scripts.
Bully by Brian McWilliams.
Gay Bully, and instead of giving you wet willies, he gives you wet willies.
Oh, I hope
you know what I mean.
I hope that's a really bad joke you just came up with.
Yeah, right on the spot.
Not a real plot point.
no, that's the so joke I made up. No, but I have a gay character in it though, and this is actually based off, oddly enough, a Patton Oswalt throwaway line. But he's like, I just want to see a really stupid gay guy one time, because every trope against gay guys is they're always like so smart, so sassy, and it's just like I just want to fucking dumb as a brick. Just dumb as a goddamn brick. Have some fun with it. I also have a black goth in the script.
I like it. Right.
Which is fun.
Breaking stereotypes.
Called Midnight.
You're going to get our culture truly woke, finally.
Oh, it'll be me that sets the powder keg off. But yeah, the three whitest, tropiest fucking rich guys, yuppie douches that, of course, are just being that scene annoyed me because it was so cliche. Like just like on a train, a guy's
what
laughing.
What you laughing at, clown?
And of course they're trying to like half molest a hot chick and throwing French fries to be like, hey, he's trying to talk to you in a train. He's throwing French fries. You don't like him? It's like,
and of course,
nobody fucking does this.
Of course, this car is only them, the Joker, and this chick. Obviously.
Naturally.
No one else.
Naturally. Yeah. In New York. Yeah. At prime time when people leave the bars.
Any time of night, that never happens in New York. There's always a billion people. You're never alone in a car, ever.
If nothing else, there would have been one homeless guy jerking off in the corner of that car.
Although it's not New York, it's Gotham, so maybe things...
You like that sneak attack ad? Mid-sentence, baby, mid-word. Sneak attack ad. To remind you guys that you can go and listen to many other libertarian podcasts, but none that are as good, well, ours is better, but none that are second to ours as good as Free Man Beyond the Wall from our buddy, our pal, our triple named threat, the three named threat of formerly Mance Raider, formerly Pete Raymond, and now Pete Quinones, which I'm definitely saying his name wrong every single time. Baxter, I don't speak Spanish. But anyway, go check out Free Man Beyond the Wall at the same website, freemanbeyondthewall.com. Again, freemanbeyondthewall.com. You can find it anywhere podcasts are available. But you can listen to Pete spout libertarian wisdom as well as interview fascinating people in the liberty movement and outside of it. Don't just live your life through liberty memes, which of course Pete is also known for. Make sure to check out his podcast as well. Again, that is Free Man Beyond the Wall.
They're different in Gotham.
Yeah, Gotham's a little different, I suppose. But anywho, yeah, getting back on track. So yeah,
this would be a good part to talk about the self-defense issues of that.
Yeah, go for it.
So people in every description I see of the movie just says Joker murders these three dudes. And I mean, okay, so what first happens, they start pushing him and they start laughing in his face and they start like beating the shit out of him. Like they're I mean, essentially his life is threatened.
And before that, they're throwing French fries and harassing a woman who's looking to him for help. So if anything, you could even say before that he'd be justified in stepping in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he could have, if they got more violent with her, I mean, they were just kind of fucking with her. But yeah, you could definitely see a point of intervention being allowed on behalf of others, even there from a libertarian standpoint. But yeah, then he of course starts laughing because it's how he deals with stress. So he was upset seeing this happen to the girl, but he was just, distressed over it. So he starts laughing. So that brings them attention to this clown who's laughing at them. And that's when they go, start to beat the shit out of him. Girl runs away. And then, as I was starting to say before, every time he kills someone, like in my mind, following the plot, I'm like, oh, he's going to kill them. But it still surprises me because just the way they do it and the way they shoot it, they always catch you off guard with it. So shoots his first guy straight to the head, and I'm like, oh shit! And then, so the first guy, 100% libertarian self-defense. I mean, that guy, they were all on him. Like he was probably going to get killed. It's reasonable to think his life was in danger. So that
I would say the guy holding him as well.
Certainly, and then
he's holding him from behind.
So then then he kills. I think he kills that guy or one of the other guys.
Yeah, he kills that guy.
Shoots the third one in the leg, and then that one gets away for a minute. But then they hop out of the cars, and Joker chases him down and kills that last guy. Now the last guy, all right, you can't really say that's self-defense at this point. Yeah. Clearly, he was running away, injured, no longer a threat to you. But you still didn't feel that bad.
No, you certainly enjoyed it. He was the piggy-faced, curly-headed one, so you really wanted him to die.
Right. So, but there's of course none of that is in the media, the stories that come out. I mean, I'm talking about within the plot of the movie now. It's just these three guys got murdered.
Yeah. They paint it. Yeah, exactly. They're painting it as though, okay, this is a psycho and he has a gun. Oh, that's the one thing I want to talk about too. So when
he has a gun,
and he has a gun, because when he gets the gun, right? They have Arthur, aka the Joker, before he becomes the Joker in this clown college, whatever their clown hiring place. This big guy gives him a gun to protect himself. And he's like, you have a gun? He's like, you're not supposed to have a gun. It's kind of like over the top, like,
why were you carrying a gun around?
Guns are the worst thing in the world.
Now, in fairness, you might not want to have a gun if you're working as a clown in a children's hospital. But actually, I would argue you should be allowed to carry one in defense then.
I agree. What if somebody comes and tries to kill all those kids? Well, depending on what ward you're in, the kids might not have much time anyway. It's a little redundant.
Frankly, he was probably justified in firing him just because you would lose a ton of clients if a clown dropped the gun. So from a libertarian standpoint, I guess I have no issue with the firing. But I don't like the extra demonization of just, why do you have a gun? What are you doing with a gun? Yeah. This is clearly the most evil thing you could have.
Right. And Arthur being so shocked that this other guy has a gun.
The cops chasing the Joker got guns.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
So a cop shoots a random guy that was innocent and cold blood on the train.
That's true.
He just ends up shooting one of the clowns while the Joker's trying to escape them towards the end of the movie.
By the way, that cop, which really I guess shouldn't shock me for cops, even fictional cops, but that the least safe gun safety ever. He's in a packed train, just holding his gun with his finger on the trigger. That is so not what you're supposed to do at all. But I guess it might not be that inaccurate.
Yeah, absurd. But yeah, it's totally, like I said, it's, the media paints this as like, oh, there's this psycho character who's going around murdering people. The Joker does not murder anybody except with the exception of one person, and that's De Niro at the end. Otherwise, and he justifies that in a way, which we'll get to in a second. But he doesn't.
He does murder the guy. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could possibly call that maybe self-defense because the guy seemed like he was about to get tough with him, but when his friend came over to,
it was given the biz. But that guy also, I mean, I guess it wasn't self-defense. That's true. That was just revenge because the big guy who gave him the gun initially set him up and then kind of ratted him out and helped get him fired. And then they came over later because when the guy sensed it was coming back to him, he went over, and there's a sense that maybe he was going to try to strong arm him, but you don't really know. But Joker kills him with a pair of scissors. But as far as shooting people,
brutally violent scene. Holy shit!
It was very violent. But overall, though, the Joker is not a character who is simply killing to kill.
Sure.
Maybe at the very end, he apparently kills his social worker because he's walking away with footsteps of blood, but we don't see it, so it's hard to know if he's imagining that or not or whatever.
And at that point, he's fully the Joker, because I think once he kills De Niro, he has fully embraced that he is no longer Arthur. He is this person, this thing, this entity named the Joker, and he makes that clear. He actually tells De Niro's character, he's like, "Hey, I want you to actually introduce me. Don't use my name. Use Joker." He's like, "You called me a Joker, right?" Because it was what De Niro used to mock him when they had played a clip of his stand-up comedy. That's how he ended up getting on the show. And so I think that was sort of signified his transformation. Like, I'm not Arthur Fleck no longer exists. There's only this Joker now who is just a reflection of all the evil that society has put upon him.
There is no Dana, only Zool. So but again, overall though, throughout the film, for the most part, like even after he kills he doesn't go and kill the other two people on stage. He doesn't kill the Ed McMahon guy. He doesn't kill. Was that by the way? Was that Dr. Ruth?
I thought so, but then I was like, is Dr. Ruth alive?
Yeah, I think that was old-ass Dr. Ruth. That he makes out with her on stage.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Old-ass Dr. Ruth.
Actually, in her comeback. And I think it was like, because, she is, I guess she's alive, but she's way older than that. So I think they did that digital thing. Yeah, they must have done that digital thing because she's been alive since she's like literally almost 100. She was born in 1928.
She's ancient.
So wait, must have been when they do the thing of taking old video and making them look young.
Yeah, maybe so. But no, overall though, like I said, he doesn't go on some massive killing spree. Even after he kills the first three, you'd think that would be where he gets like the taste for blood and becomes a psychotic incel because he is an incel. He's a guy that cannot get laid. He's a guy that has porno in his joke book. Like you see multiple times, they make an emphasis that he has porno pictures in his notebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, it's efficient to keep it all in one place.
Yeah, I mean,
write the joke, and you're like, "What's on this page?" Oh, hello.
If I can't laugh while I'm coming, I'm not coming.
All right,
it's my law. So
this will go on the comp reel of things that don't allow you to run for office.
Oh yeah, I'm never running for office. Impossible, unless this world becomes a crazy different place.
Hey, Trump has said some things on tape too, and he's doing okay.
That's true. Well, if the collapsitarians have their way, I'll definitely run for some sort of local office.
Our emperor.
Yeah, tall. I can see over my walls. But also the incel thing, it's like he has these fantasies about, as we were talking about earlier, this black chick who was Domino in Deadpool 2.
Oh, that's why you call her Domino. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Domino. She's kind of cute. I like her.
Yeah. I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
I would say yes, Domino.
Let's say.
Come on. I know.
Welcome to my Mark. Life. If you're going to do it, you got to go, Domino, bitch! And then she just fucks you right there.
That's more your style, I guess. But
whatever works. Got to know that. You gotta know your audience. So Domino has a little kid, and there's a scene where Mark got taken down the rabbit hole of fantasy.
I thought he was reminiscing.
Well, I bought it, and Sandy bought it too. She didn't realize until they revealed it. For me, I was watching it, and because basically he meets this chick on the elevator, and they have no prior relationship that you know of. And then all of a sudden, after he goes and
but they do live down the hall, so you can imagine they had other interactions possibly. You don't really.
Yeah, but he's such a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
And he like blows his brain out to her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." And it's like a really weird scene because he just holds it. He like blows his brain out, and then just sits there staring at her, pretending he's dead for 10 seconds. And she's like, "Okay, gotta go." So then later on, you have this scene where. And this is happening in his mind, you find out later, but he goes up and he knocks on her door after it's been raining, and he opens the door and he just makes out with her. She's like, "Yes, come on in, gross old cigarette skinny man clown."
Before that, there was a scene where he follows her and like watches her like send her son to school. And this really should have been the indication, because I remember when after that, there's a scene where she comes to his apartment. And she's like, "So were you following me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, they keep talking, and they're like, and she invites her to a comedy show, and she's like, "Yeah, let me know." And I'm like, no chick would be cool with you following her. Even if she like thought you were some handsome guy she liked, it would still creep her out.
Right.
So the fact that it was this weirdo following her and she seemed okay with it really should have been my indication that it was totally a fantasy, because I was thinking that was weird. I thought it was weird writing. I'm like, how could? But then I guess it was intentional. So,
well, I had deep suspicions that I was being Fight Clubbed, as I'll call it. But it was based on that. I was like, this does not make sense that this chick could be going along with this. It doesn't make sense that they're like peas in a pod and she's there with them. I was like, none of this is adding up.
When they're walking around on the street, which later turned out to be not true. She had some comment like they saw some article about the Joker, and she's like, "I think they deserved it, those guys."
Right? Yeah.
I think he's a hero, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's on."
He's rock hard. Yeah, so that was a little strange. And then you find out later, of course, they do the Fight Club thing where it's him in the scenes and she's not there. And you just say, okay. Yeah,
which I didn't get somehow because I'm that oblivious.
You missed it. Yeah, but the same thing, like you're saying, though, he's got these fantasies. So they're very much painting him as the incel character that the media loves to paint as, and there's truth to it, as the killers, as the psychopaths. But you do see the two sides of it. I think they did a good job of portraying a very troubled character and how society can push them to the side, how they can, overlook them, how they can treat them like shit, how they're not getting the help that they may need, how they're maybe not getting the parenting that they need. And of course, it was also a broken home.
Yeah, I think it does a good job of showing you why this person is how they are, making you understand them. But I don't think, somebody I saw the movie with said something about like they didn't think it was good that they showed the Joker as the hero and who was like a murderer. And I was like, I really don't think they're showing him as a hero.
No.
Just because you can understand, like if I watch a documentary about Hitler and I understand why he became Hitler, it doesn't make Hitler's actions heroic or make him the hero. It makes him the main character of the story. Like Arthur's clearly the main character, but they don't portray him as a hero. At no point do they portray his...
Let me say something right here because I love what you just said. And that
wonderful.
Well, using just like it says analogy. Yeah, exactly. The only way you'd find him a hero, right, is if you are on the left-hand wokest side of things, where you're like, he's a hero because he's a class warrior, right? That would be the justification.
Right. So maybe that was her perspective,
right? Which might have been it, right? Which is like if you're a socialist and you're like, well, Hitler was a hero. like that because he put socialism in a place. And
there's really no hero in this movie. There's no unflawed character. I mean, the only characters we see, there's, I guess maybe the chick down the hall seems like a good character, but she's not really essential to the movie because she's mostly his imagination. So I wouldn't say there's any hero. Like every character is flawed. Maybe the social worker seems fine, but his mother's not a hero. His Thomas Wayne is, not really a hero. He's just kind of part of the, building the infrastructure of the story. So there's no hero. Maybe that's one of the messages. There's not always a hero. There's just tragedy and tragic things that happen to people, and understanding why they happen doesn't justify the tragic things that unfold from them.
Right. Yeah. But it definitely makes you think about how these things can be prevented. And, I'll tell you, so in let me skip ahead and just say, so in the end, when he shoots De Niro, right, he goes on the show, De Niro invites him back on the show, the Happy Smiley, whatever the fuck show it is. He goes back on the show, and that's where he has this moment where De Niro's kind of goading him into doing jokes, and he knows he's just on there to being mocked, and he admits that he killed these guys. But he gets into it with De Niro. De Niro's question was like, why'd you murder those guys? Why'd you kill these people? And blah, blah, blah. And of course, Arthur's character, the Joker, he's like, you only brought me on here to make fun of me. And then he talks about how, he's mentally ill. He was overlooked. He was told he was trashed by society and pushed aside. He's like, he's like, what do you get me across? A mentally ill person with, like a loner. And that is very prominent in what we're looking at right now in society. You've got the characters that are doing these type of things, like the people that are shooting, they have one thing in common. And I think anybody can agree with this that's being honest. They have one thing in common, and it's that they are absolutely fucking alone. They are absolutely alone.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't have fathers,
or they had a father that left them early, just like the Joker.
Yeah, or they don't have friends. Arthur is on
drugs of some kind, pharmaceuticals, just like the Joker.
Isolated. Now, granted, this is before social media when this film takes place, which is probably back in like 1950 or not, probably 1970. Let's say it takes place roughly in the time period. But now it's like you got social media, but still that isolates people further. And in this movie too, you see that there's only one guy he lets live in the movie, and it's the midget. Yeah. And he goes, "You were the one of the very few people that was kind to me."
And that is why I'm nice to everybody I work with, even if I might secretly not like them that much, because when they come to shoot up the workplace, I'm going to be like, hey, I was nice, remember? And they're going to be like, yeah, you were pretty nice to me.
Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you.
Not because I like them. It's because I just don't want them to shoot.
Well, Mark, remember I recorded a 40-minute bonus podcast that I was like blitzed, super fucking
I'm disappointed we didn't let at least us hear it.
Well,
you probably couldn't trust us because then we probably
couldn't trust you. No, I couldn't trust you. But I recorded the entire podcast, and it was like a 40-minute podcast of me just like an old sea captain alone, lost at sea, like talking about the white whale. But
I'll check your recycle bin and see if it's there.
Maybe I will. Maybe it's still there. But I'll tell you the topic of the episode, and it actually is perfect for this. The topic that I want to talk about was kindness and being kind. Because I feel like, especially a libertarian. No, seriously, hear me out.
I'm only laughing, picturing you drunkenly telling people to be kind.
Oh, it was ridiculous. I know, especially me.
Drooling on a microphone. Let's be kind
to each other. No, but especially in libertarian circles, right? It's like, I feel like people can really be assholes to each other. Granted, we're nothing like the woke left, but people can really be assholes going after each other for nonsense. Meanwhile, a lot of us are probably loners. But I was just talking about, I think about my own past. Growing up, I had a lot of, I lived in the kind of like daywalker world. I had some popular friends, so funny guy. I had some nerdy friends. And the reason I had some of these friends that were really,
I floated between groups sort of as well.
Yeah, well, good.
I intermingled with all, but I wasn't in one.
Well, neither was I. That's why I prefer it. But I'll tell you, the reason I became friends with some of these people, the Matt Mulleys of the world, which I'm sure he's never going to listen to this, but a guy that we know that we became friends with who's definitely not all there. But I became friends with some people that were very much not the people I would necessarily have become friends with voluntarily, I guess. But sometimes you see people and you go, that person is fucking alone. And I mean, dead serious. I'm not going to name their specific names, but there's two people that immediately come to mind. But I saw them, I was like, these fuckers are alone, man. They are so alone. No one's talking, no one's hanging out. And I made it a point to reach out and become friends with these people.
And I became horrified and took their own lives.
Not immediately. After a couple of years.
Slowly.
It's a slow drip approach I like to use.
Did you make any of them libertarians? That's the important thing.
One of them became a lawyer, so I can take credit for that.
Rico?
Not Rico. No, not
the Rico origin story revealed.
Rico, I did. I feel Rico somewhat falls in that. I looked over. There's a slobbering fucking mess of a human being. I was like, oh, that fucker needs a friend. Yeah. No, but I honestly, I'm not. I know this sounds. It's going to sound more egotistical than it should, but I'm telling you the complete truth. And I see this a lot, but I just think people need to do. They really need to take that time and be fucking kind and take a moment and talk to people. Especially now when we're all just looking at our goddamn phones. We're looking, we're so concerned with all that we have going on. Social media, all you put out is straight bullshit of your best life. And it's just, I don't know. I can see why these guys are what they are. And the Joker movie is just more of that.
Yeah, I agree. Be kind, especially to other libertarians, or I shouldn't say especially to other libertarians, maybe the opposite, especially to people who don't agree with you and have a different view on things. And you might think correctly that their views are evil or lead to evil. But the fact is, most of the people you encounter in your day-to-day life are not deeply immersed in political philosophy. Right, yeah. They just heard some catchphrases and they want the best for people too. They just think, they hear medical care for all, and they think, well, of course I want Medicare. I want care for everybody. Why wouldn't I? They don't have any deeper perception of it, most of them. A lot of them do advocate it for it and do know what they're talking about. And those people you are allowed to dislike if you really get
eviscerate them.
But for the most part, I mean, it's mostly, I'm not just going to say it's only a lack of understanding. Some people do come to understand what you're saying, and they just say, no, I want the government to do it. So, I'm not saying everyone needs to be always given love and kindness and that sort of thing. But, well, actually, I am saying that. Even if they disagree with you, you need to send that towards people, because you're going to get what you send out back. So if you are sending hate to people, you're going to end up inviting hate, and that's just not a good way to live. But we are really getting into some deep stuff now.
Well, I think that this movie should inspire some of that, and hopefully it inspires some people to rethink about how they deal with people and how they talk to people. And, there's something where, the concept of you get what you deserve, or you get what's coming to you kind of thing. There's a little bit of that, which, the whole golden rule thing.
Sure, and Robert De Niro probably doesn't deserve to be murdered, but you almost started to feel, well, I don't know. The last scene you could kind of break down either way, because he did start to seem more human in the last scene as well. He seemed genuinely concerned with the murders and talking to him about it. And he came out of that character who was just boisterous and making fun of Arthur. But you also got the feeling of like, well, you did bring him here to mock him,
right? Yeah, for that sole purpose, and encouraged him and let him go on and argued for him to go out in the clown makeup, because you knew it would just be a spectacle.
Only when you realized how serious his despair was and that he really was this murderer that you really got concerned. But maybe the point is we should show more kindness and concern before we get to that point.
Exactly. Well, that's the entire concern. And I'm trying to think.
Are we the only reviewers to say that Joker sends a message of kindness? We might be.
Well, I mean, fuck, man. At the end of the day, it does, or at least it shouldn't send a message of kindness, but it should elicit a response of kindness. Just kind of like, in Billy Madison, another very serious film. Billy Madison, you've got, what's his face?
What were the most influential movies in your life? Billy Madison and the Joker.
Who's the hideous, bug-eyed monster that's a great actor and I love him? Steve Buscemi. Oh, yeah. So you got Steve Buscemi's character in there, and Billy Madison bullied him, and he goes back and apologizes to the guy later in life. And you've got Steve Buscemi, who's got a kill list, and he's polishing a sniper rifle while putting on lipstick. So in that way, it should make people rethink how they're treating people, and also just how certain segments of society are pushed to the side, the loners. And again, Joker makes a point of saying he is a loner that is, weird and abnormal. And because of that, he was pushed to the side, unworthy of love. And if Ed even says that, all I want is some love. I think to Thomas Wayne, his father, he says that in the bathroom. I just want to fucking hug. I just want to hug.
And he gets a punch in the face.
He gets a punch in the face for his trouble.
But knowing Thomas Wayne,
though, he should have punched him in the face.
Knowing his perspective, that was totally fine. I mean,
it was warranted. Joker had gone to his house.
He had touched his son's face.
How stupid! Creepily. How much of a little fucking tard is Bruce Wayne, by the way?
Yeah, why did you let him grab you?
Yeah, he's got this creepazoid. He puts a clown nose on and then dances around outside your gate with flowers from a cane. And you're like, well, I should definitely go close to this guy so he can put his fingers in my mouth.
I'm not saying I was the smartest kid, but I think I would have been creeped out by a weird clown guy at my house. Not like who's this guy? Flowers?
Who's this weird ass skinny? And the guy looks like walking fucking Phoenix.
He is.
For Christ's sake, do we need to say more?
True. All true. I'm curious how you would respond to this objection, because I know this is what I'm going to get sometimes from people that they'll say, well, this is why, first of all, I hate when people cite fictional works for this is why we should do anything, but whatever. They'll be like, well, this is why we can't defund. This is why you got to have the government, funding, mental health services and such. And I mean, look, if the government was only going to fund, I don't know, I'm not going to defend any government spending, but I can see if you create the conditions for mental illness all around the world, and then the only thing you cut out of the system is funding that. I don't want to fund anything. I want to create a system where you don't need the government doing these things. But I think that's the argument you'll hear from people often. Yeah,
perhaps. But like you're saying, though, it's also when you look at the rates, like, I mean, the VA is a perfect example of just the rates of which people actually get treatment, the rates at which now we see suicide rates are insanely high, despite the VA having psychiatric health programs and all this other shit. Then you see the reports that come out where the VA lies about the results. They lie about how many appointments they're making. So it's so utterly corrupt. Where you look at any honest person can look at the system run under government and say, this is completely unworkable.
Yeah.
Let the private industry, let people put that money, let people take tax breaks, eliminate the tax breaks, let private charity thrive. There's no fucking way the government should be running shit.
And the incentives that make it, more economically incentivizing for women to have no father in the home. So then you don't have as many jokers where the kids are, metaphorically at least, ignored and don't have a father figure. And, that often can send people down this path of loneliness through life when you're lonely from the beginning. You don't have a father from the beginning, and that's how you learn to live. And then you never learn anything different until, obviously most people don't turn out like the Joker or like a shooter, but they might still really have a lot of other consequences that lead down other bad paths in life.
And the sad thing is the Joker was adopted, and that's actually the better outcome. I work with this organization that works with foster children, 30,000 of them in LA, and you look at the adoption is a great outcome. Compared to the fucking horrible outcomes, usually.
Only when you're adopted
all
by
these other kids have.
Penny Fleck, but
yeah, Penny Fleck's no good.
Yeah.
Penny Emerson, also terrible. Our good friend.
Usually good. You're just raking everyone we know over the coals.
I'm seeing if they listen. That's
the test.
I'm just going to randomly insult friends of ours and then just see if they say anything. See if they listen.
Tragedy.
It's like you just see, like, I look at foster care as a perfect example of just in social services in general, just the system gets overburdened. So many people step through they fall through the cracks. The CASA, place I work with, the shit they do is like simple stuff most of the time. It's just like finding an error, getting them a medical appointment, getting like this simple stuff changes a kid's life, and the government don't do it.
Yep.
Can't do it.
Precisely.
Yeah. So anything else on Joker? I think we covered pretty much. We were talking about a rating system.
Minutes. Should we give it like
pause up, pause up, pause down?
That's obviously a 2 pause up. I mean, it's a great movie.
Are we just doing 2 pause?
I don't know. We don't have a system.
Lions have 4 pause. We can do it best of 4, like 4 stars, 4 pause. Okay.
I would probably still. Can you give it quarters of pause?
Yeah. You can even give it. Those freak cats that have 5 or 6 fingers. Oh, and you have wings. You have the wing cats.
Well, this is getting too complicated. If it's really great, you
add 4
wings.
paws with wing cats with wings.
I'm going to give it like 3.5 paws then, because while I do love it and I think it's a great movie, I think it'll be a movie I'll remember forever and want to rewatch again. And Joaquin Phoenix's performance is just unbelievable, and I think it's just so well done in so many ways. I just take off the half a paw for a little bit of the tropiness and a little bit of the glossing over the rich versus poor and that kind of stuff, and like the very generic white rich New York guys, that stuff is just, I don't know. I just want to see scenes like that where it's the same result, but you make it a little less tropey. It doesn't seem that hard. Just make one of those guys Latino and the other one gay, and like suddenly it's fine. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard.
No, I completely agree. I also give it 3.5 paws. And, but I remember walking out saying, I really like that movie.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't a movie where maybe Fight Club's not the best movie in the goddamn world, but I remember Fight Club is one of the few movies I walked out of and I was like, God damn, that movie fucking
the movie I was thinking
my
about.
Life, changed the way I think about things.
I think any movie is good if it stirs emotion and it's something you think, and if you think about it like days after you just find yourself thinking about parts of the movie, then it's a good movie.
Yeah, and Joker I for sure will. I definitely would like to see it again. And I also didn't mind. It was 2 hours, which is a little long, but it was well done, and the time passed quickly.
See, I'm used to Avengers movies being 3 hours now, so I was like, this is so short. This is great.
That fucking last Avengers movie was a turd. Pissed me off. That's another top. That's another episode.
I liked it, but it has issues, like being too long.
It had many issues. It was like it had the fucking Peter Griffin. No, it had what's the guy's name that directed goddamn the Hobbit director and Peter Jackson. My wife yells from the other room. Thank you, Peter Jackson. Avengers suffered from the Peter Jackson syndrome, where the last Lord of the Rings, I was like, you know what? This is good, except you have 30 minutes of crying hobbits. Cut out 25 minutes of the fucking crying hobbits.
There's the one movie where the Hobbit just talks to a dragon for an hour.
God, I know.
Literally, that's literal. That actually happened in a movie. I couldn't believe that. No, Avengers isn't that bad, but
that was so awful.
Like, you're still talking to the dragon?
Oh my God! Wrap it up, Smog. Somebody bring in the fucking Oscar. Play it off.
God. And that was all just to get to the point where Smog says he's going to destroy everything.
Yeah,
and you don't see that till the next movie.
Yeah, it's fucking
really
awful.
Unbelievable.
Fucking awful.
Atrocious.
I agree, atrocious.
That's a crime. Where's Odie when you need him? Is it a crime? Yes. That movie was a crime.
but overall, it was well done. And I will say this just to wrap it up. To your point about Joaquin Phoenix, I do think he should at least be nominated for Best Actor.
Has to.
I mean, that movie is almost all him.
He's better than really.
He's the whole. It's almost like a fucking documentary. It's just him.
Yeah,
with very few exceptions.
I mean, if Heath Ledger won for it, he has to win for it. It's so much better. I mean,
was he dead? Was he dead when he won?
Maybe, yeah. I think
he won because he's dead. That's dead. He got dead points.
The dead vote. He did.
Yeah, he got dead points.
Don't get any ideas, Joaquin. We want you to stick around. Don't go for the dead points.
Yeah. God, I wish I remember. I was thinking of awards that. Granted, it was a good Joker. Don't get me wrong, but thinking awards that aren't deserved. There was something I tweeted about the fucking Pulitzer Prize. Somebody won it, and it was the Nobel Prize, and they won it for the stupidest fucking thing ever. I gotta go to my Twitter real quick and see what the hell it was for. Because it was literally, it was like one of those things you go, what does this even matter anymore? Why is this a thing? Why is the Nobel Peace Prize a thing?
Oh no,
it's the Nobel Prize and whatever.
It's for a long time.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here's why. During the Nobel Prize ceremony, they quoted The Big Bang Theory.
Oh god, no. Oh,
when they were announcing the winners.
Actually, yeah.
God, oh my God! If there's a show, why couldn't there be a Joker who goes on the set of The Big Bang Theory?
I'm proud to say I've never seen the show once. I imagine it being terrible, and that's all I need.
I haven't either. I actually no. I've watched half an episode that they took the laugh track out of, and I remember sitting there just going, huh?
What if we go to review The Big Bang Theory for like Patreon, and then we turns out we love it, and we become the biggest fans of it, and we stop this podcast and start the Big Bang podcast?
I'll admit when I'm wrong.
All right, well, maybe we'll do that.
Maybe I'll admit when I'm wrong on Borders. I don't know. Do we have time to get into this?
Now at this point, I don't think we should, because I don't want to do it a half justice. I think it's a very in-depth topic that deserves an in-depth discussion. So why don't we just tease it for now? Okay. And why don't we say we will commit to doing this maybe sometime in the next month, where we will have a discussion on the topic, not a debate, not a formal debate.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do it. Well, the Remzo's like, I'll moderate. I'm like, I don't care that much.
Maybe if we can't come to a conclusion, we'll think about that down the road.
Yeah.
But let's say we'll stream it to the Pride. So another reason to go join the Lions of Liberty Pride, patreon.com/Lions of Liberty. For as little as $2 a month, you can join the Facebook group and see live streams. So we'll do that live, and we'll decide if you want to make it a real show or what. But we'll address it in more detail and depth and such.
Yeah, there you go. And by the way, I just mentioned Remzo.
Preview, you're wrong.
I don't know, man. I'm a pretty goddamn good arguer, and I find a lot of nuance in arguments that people go,
well, good, because at the end of the day, that's what I want. I want a nuanced discussion. So
yeah, well, that's what we're gonna get, motherfucker. By the way, shout out to Remzo Martinez, our buddy. I think I'm gonna have him on to talk about his new book.
Yeah, you should. It's great.
What's it called? Kill the Libertarians?
No, that's his old book. Stay away from the Libertarians, which I interviewed him about a long time ago.
Yeah, not that one. What's the new one called? He's sending it to me, but it hasn't come in the mail yet. A lazy Hispanic. It
is. I can't find it right now. How to Succeed in Politics, and there's a subtitle that I forget about the devil.
Something about the devil
and other forms of devil worship. That's what it is.
There you go.
Really good book. I read it already. It's actually a really good book.
I told him, I'm not going to read it online. I won't do it. I said, send me a physical copy.
See, I'm the opposite. I was like, send me a Kindle version. So I
can't. I can't read. Just like I lose my place. I can listen to audiobooks or paper. I'm an old man. I'm an old person.
I don't like having to carry books around, and I can carry like 20 books on an iPad. It's great.
Oh, I love carrying books around. I can use them to jam in people's mouth and just right there.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. One more thing before we wrap this up. Actually, let's talk real quick about the NBA.
You didn't prepare me for this at all. I don't.
No. Well, all right, I'll ease you into it with this story. I just read on Zero Hedge about but the Drexel professor blowing federal funds at strip clubs.
Nope, that's not what I thought you were going to talk about.
What a fucking hero!
The China guy. Okay.
Best use of funds I've ever seen by a government for government funds. I'm all for it. If this is what government funds go toward my tax dollars,
between this and the borders thing, you really are becoming a sadist.
if my tax dollars are going towards strip clubs, I'm for it. Support the arts.
Well, I guess if we have to use our tax dollars, it may as well.
I'd rather go to strippers than piss Christ.
So what happened?
So basically, a guy at Drexel named. Wow, you know me and names. Good luck with this one.
Good luck, everybody. Oh god, this is going to sound racist. That's all I know.
Chikayo Dinaka D Nwankpa.
I'm sure you nailed it.
I'm going to send it to you in the chat. You try saying it. I'm going to send it to you right now. We'll see if you can do any fucking better. There's no chance here. Well, this is like when you watch somebody putt in golf. There you go.
Oh, it's Chikao Dinaka D Nwankpa. What? Why was that hard?
Chikao Dinaka D Nwankpa?
Yeah. Simple. You just pronounce them how they're spelled.
Can I have I know we have some people in Africa listening to this. Can we fact check this? Can we fact check this, please?
Maybe he's listening. Maybe Chikao Dinaka's listening.
I hope. Maybe he was inspired by us. He's like, fuck the government. I'm using this money for the good stuff. I hope. Anyway, so according to the Justice Department, he spent funds on strip clubs and let's see, something like $180,000
by himself. Wow.
Well, yeah. If I'm going to spend $180,000, it's all champagne room all the time.
Is his other name Rico? His other alias?
It might be Rico in blackface, like Soul Man. Anyway, so that was one story. All right, just real quick though, what do you think about the NBA and China? They kicked out 2 people from arenas in the NBA in America for having fucking Hong Kong signs and standing up and saying they want it, like cheering for Hong Kong.
I think this is actually a tough one from very many angles because as a libertarian, I support free speech, free association, and all these things. But I'm not going to act like it's not troubling to see major American corporations, and the larger an organization is, I would include all the major sports leagues and major companies, tech companies. They get to this point where they're like almost are the government. They're becoming a part of the government. They're so intertwined with regulations and such. And it is scary to see them wholesalely side with communist China in a sense. It's also, though, I don't know. Also, there's elements of the Hong Kong Revolution. I discussed this with Daniel McAdams the other week a little bit that are very CIA-led and
oh, totally.
So I'm very conflicted about these things because I want freedom for everybody and I want to support freedom movements. But then when I see the CIA involved in the freedom movement, I start to think, how freedom is this movement? So there's that element
of it.
You want
your freedom with a side of CIA?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the NBA has the right to remove people that are putting messages on TV. It's a television product that if they want. But I think they're going to face a lot of backlash for it. And I think it's going to only invite more people to do the same. People wear a Hong Kong shirt underneath and reveal it. I think it's just going to draw even more attention to it. Where if they let a couple people wear the shirts and didn't make a big deal out of it, it would probably just fade away.
I agree completely. I also agree that it's a private product. If they want to kick you out of the stadium for any goddamn reason, they're more than welcome to do it.
Well, that doesn't mean we have to like it, and it doesn't mean we have to.
And if you don't like that as a fan of that, then don't go. Don't support the product.
I was already ahead of this years ago. I don't watch the NBA and I don't go to games.
I don't either because the NBA fucking sucks. I hate the NBA. Boring product. But in general, though, like you're saying, you've got this. Oh, wait, I lost my train of thought.
Well, what else?
I wish I could rewind.
Are you
a little
tired,
bit.
Sleepy, or
I'm tired and now I'm a little drunk. No, but so you got the NBA. Oh, you're talking about the reaction and people, if they just let this shit go, this happens all the time. This is the Chinese government writ large, by the way.
Yeah.
If they would let more of this shit go and be less heavy-handed with it, then they would have a lot less problems. Like by them cracking down so hardcore, all they're doing is making the problem fucking worse and worse and worse every time.
Yeah, I think China's been like canceling all these NBA games and saying they're not going to have the games that we're going to play. They're not going to air them. But I think that is also going to, maybe not because maybe they're crushing dissent so much in Hong Kong that people won't. But it's going to create more dissent within their own culture and their own people of being, why are you taking the NBA games away from us? Why? Because someone tweeted something about Hong Kong? Like,
right, yeah.
It's going to build even more resentment. And I don't think it's a strategically smart move either.
Oh, I'd be so fucking mad if like the Eagles were on and they're like, oh, you're not going to get to see the Eagles game because somebody
the owner likes Cuba.
Somebody wore a pro Cuba t-shirt. I'd be like, you go fuck her right off. Yeah, exactly. It's just idiotic.
Yeah, it's stupid all around. think we agree.
All right. Well, that's about it. You have any final thoughts to share with my Electric Liberty Land audience?
That if you haven't, you should go listen to my show, which airs 2 days before this one every single week. So go do that. And I think, well, no, this would have already happened. So yeah, I interviewed in the past with Julie Borowski about her new children's book, Nobody Knows How to Make a Pizza. And it's really awesome. So I was happy to have her on to talk about that. So check it out.
I liked her Greta Thunberg. She did. It was kind of like a cosplay thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had recorded this before that, so I didn't get to ask her about that. But
well, that's all right. And I realized I didn't stop to do a plug. Now I got to go back and like ninja in a goddamn plug in the middle of the show. Hate that. Although it's kind of like Dave. You ever listen to Dave Rubin's podcast? It's
like in the middle of a sentence. You should do it in the middle of a word, so when people get here, they'll know that it was on purpose, and only your true fans will know that you did that totally to mess with them.
Oh, I think I definitely will know. But yeah, he does it all the time.
Just don't do it in the middle of one of my brilliant points.
And then I said, "Did you want to use ZipRecruiter for your product placement?" Yeah. Fuck ZipRecruiter, by the way. They're not a sponsor of this program. Fuck ZipRecruiter.
And never will be now.
Well, if they
were about to call, and they're like, well, until we heard that last.
We should do reverse advertising and just like hold them hostage. Be like, we're going to talk shit on your fucking company every day until you
know what jeans suck? Levi's. Those are the worst. They're itchy. They don't fit right. You send us money, Levi's. Or no libertarians will wear those pants.
We're like 5-0 transphobic.
Oh, man. Next week I'll have on Steph and Kinsella to discuss my lawsuit against Levi's. Or their lawsuit against me.
Trying to do the rock eyebrow. I just did it by accident.
I cannot do that. Anyway.
Oh, there you go. There you go. See, you have to be a $2 Pride member to see this rock.
This is why you need to see the live streams. So
eyebrow.
You can see our terrible people's eyebrows.
I look a little bit like Columbo.
All right. How do you end the show? Plug it in for Liberty or something?
Yeah, plug it in for Liberty, like a Glade plug-in. Plug it in, plug it in.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Now, all right, let's wrap this shit. Okay, so yeah, guys, remember, Mark, obviously you can hear him on Mondays. I am every Wednesday. And listen to John Odie Odermatt on Felony Fridays. Make sure you check that out. Talking about the ironically named criminal justice system. Also want to remind you guys that you can go and buy the one, the only Liberty is Theft mug. Go to lionsofliberty.store, pick that up. Also,
taxation is theft.
What did I say? Taxation
Liberty is theft, but I actually like that. I think we should come out with another mug.
We'll sell it to the left and we'll make money off of them.
This is why I'm glad you don't edit your podcast for moments like this.
Never.
Yeah, we're going to start a new Liberty is theft mug.
Dude, we should sell that to the left.
Why not?
We make a shitload of money.
What if we made $1 billion selling anti-Liberty gear to fund Liberty? Hey.
I love this idea. I think we should make a Liberty is theft mug.
It'll be like Remzo with all his secret Facebook pages that we're probably
totally.
Talk about.
Wink, wink. Liberty is, sorry, I just said again, taxation is death mug at lionsofliberty.store, as well as Do Nothing Man gear. By the way, go like Do Nothing Man's Facebook page. I have a YouTube dedicated to it now. This is the thing, people. This is the thing that's going to grow. So go fucking support it. That's enough plugs.
I believe if we just over double our Patreon support, or maybe closer to triple, we have decided we will put the funds into Animate Do Nothing Man.
It will be a cartoon.
An incentive.
Yes.
And that wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't take that many of you.
And again, guys, remember, we got our $50 Nittany level now, which gets you. And of course, spicy. Nick Pacone also, shout out to you, sir.
Yeah.
Our new super level, but also comes in on the $50. But you get to choose. We have 2 people on there now. I guess, does Nick count? Does he get
3 total? Yeah. 3 total.
All right, 3 total. Nick, yeah. I keep hitting my fucking earphone on my bike today. But you get to pick Conspiracy Corner. After 3 months, Conspiracy Corner, you get to decide a movie for us to review. And I think we're going to add in some other stuff. I actually am debating
anything. It's up to them. It's we
are horrors for your amusement.
Sure.
I maybe even a Do Nothing Man concept, and I'll see if it works.
All right.
I might tell them that they're morons and to shove it. I reserve that right. Asterisk.
Oh yeah, of course. We're always allowed to do that.
Asterisk. You're a moron.
Any pledge level, we can call you a moron. That's
shove it. But get on that, guys. You can go to patreon.com/Lions of Liberty. All right, that's it. For me, Brian McWilliams from the Lions of Liberty, including Marc Clair. Thank you for joining me. And from Electric Liberty Land, always stay plugged in to Liberty.